The cafe buzzed softly with murmurs of conversation and the faint clinking of cups. It was Valentine's weekend, and every table was taken, except one in the corner, where a young woman nervously stirred her coffee for the 5th time. She dressed carefully, soft peach dress, her long hair curled, a touch of gloss. She wasn't used to blind dates, but her best friend had convinced her, he's nice. He's your type. Just be yourself. Now, across from her, the man she was supposed to meet sat scrolling on his phone. He barely looked up. When he finally did, it was only to glance at her, frown slightly, and mutter, I think there's been a mistake. You don't look like your picture." Her fingers froze on the coffee cup handle. "Oh," she whispered. "I'm sorry if..." "It's fine," he cut her off. I don't think this will work. You seem nice, but I'm not into this kind of body type." A few people nearby turned their heads. Her cheeks flushed deep red as she blinked back tears. She wanted to disappear, but instead, she nodded and said softly, "It's okay. Have a good evening." He left without another word. For a moment, the sound of laughter and conversation around her blurred into silence. She sat there, trying to hold herself together, the sting of humiliation sharp and heavy in her chest. At the next table, a little girl with curly blonde hair had been quietly drawing hearts on a napkin. She looked up at the woman, frowned, then tugged her father's sleeve. "Daddy," she whispered, "that lady looks sad." Her father, a man in his mid-30s with kind eyes and tired lines around them, followed his daughter's gaze. He'd seen everything. He hesitated for a moment, then stood up and walked over to her table. "Excuse me," he said gently, "I couldn't help overhearing. Would you mind if my daughter and I joined you? She insists I ask." The woman blinked, surprised. "Oh, sure." The man smiled, and the little girl clambered into the seat opposite her, proudly holding out the napkin covered in messy hearts. "This is for you," she said. "You look like a princess, but you're sad. Princesses shouldn't be sad." The woman laughed softly, despite herself. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice cracking slightly. Her father smiled. "She has a thing for cheering people up." "I hope we're not intruding." "Not at all," the woman said. "I was just leaving. Actually." "Then we're just in time," he said. "You can't leave before trying the best chocolate pie in this place. My daughter swears it fixes everything." The girl nodded eagerly. "It really does." Minutes turned into an hour. The woman found herself laughing, relaxing, forgetting the sting of rejection. The man was gentle and funny, the kind of person who asked questions and actually listened. His daughter was full of sunshine, chatty, curious, and endlessly kind. When the server brought the check, the woman reached for her purse, but the man shook his head. "Don't," he said. "Let us have this one. You've been through enough today." For a moment, their eyes met, his steady and warm, her shimmering with the remnants of earlier tears. There was something unspoken there. Gratitude, understanding, maybe even something more. Outside, as they prepared to leave, the little girl grabbed her hand and said, "Are you coming back tomorrow? Daddy says nice people always come back." The woman smiled through a lump in her throat. "Maybe I will." The father watched her go, a thoughtful expression on his face. The cafe door chimed softly behind her as she stepped into the cool night air. She paused, looked up at the sky, and took a deep breath, feeling lighter than she had in years. Inside, the father picked up his daughter's drawing from the table. In the middle of the napkin hearts, she had written in big, wobbly letters, "Everyone deserves to be loved." He stood there for a moment, holding that napkin in his hand, the words written in a child's scrawl making him smile. Something about that moment felt right. Like maybe they were supposed to be there. Just to remind a stranger she still mattered. The next evening, as the cafe lights glowed against the setting sun, he found himself glancing toward the door more than once. His daughter noticed. "Daddy, are you waiting for the princess?" she asked, grinning. He laughed softly. "Maybe I am." And just when he was about to give up, the door opened. And there she was. The same soft peach dress, a shy smile this time, and a small box of chocolates in her hand. "I owed you both dessert," she said. His daughter squealed. "You came back." They talked again that night, longer this time. About life, about struggles. About how cruel people could be, and how kindness from a stranger could sometimes heal wounds that years of self-doubt could not. Weeks passed, and the cafe became their meeting spot. She started smiling more, dressing how she wanted, not how she thought others expected her to. And he realized that what drew him to her had nothing to do with appearance. It was her quiet strength, the way she laughed now, freely, without apology. One afternoon, his daughter whispered to her, "You know what Daddy said? He said kindness makes people beautiful." She blinked back tears, squeezing the girl's hand. "He's right." Months later, as spring bloomed outside the cafe windows, the three of them sat together again. This time like family. She looked around the room where it all began, where she had once felt invisible, and smiled. Sometimes, life doesn't give you what you expect. It gives you what you need. That day, a simple act of kindness turned a moment of pain into a new beginning, reminding everyone who witnessed it that compassion is more powerful than judgment, and love often arrives quietly, disguised as empathy. And somewhere between brokenness and healing, she realized something she had forgotten for too long. She had always been enough.